I just I just had a situation. I just had a situation. I just had a not an argument. It wasn't even supposed to be a debate or argument or anything, but it's difficult to talk to people who don't really have an understanding of faith. They have belief, but they don't have an idea of what is faith. All right, so let me tell you what happened, right? So I'm sitting here at work, right? All right, so I'm sitting here at work, and it's the guy. He works for the facility department, right? So he comes in talking or whatever. It's Puerto Rican guy, right? He's Puerto Rican, as if that was a ethnicity or nationality, but whatever. So he's Port Rich, Puerto Rican, right? And I started talking about, I don't know, I forgot how we got on the subject, but I started talking about the New World Order and vaccines and stuff, and how the vaccines is kind of similar to what Revelations have about the mark of the beast or whatever. And those who resist is going to be the 144,000, this, that, and the third. And then he started talking about Jesus and what Jesus said, and then he went into Jesus as God, and then before we even got into that, he was saying how God is going to come, and when God's anger comes, and then he's going to impose vengeance on the world and these wicked people. I'm like, oh boy, yeah, like people are still waiting for the pie in the sky. It's like, I'm like, go ahead, keep waiting on God, man. Sit back and keep waiting on God while the wicked runs the earth with impunity. Like, I'm like, listen, God is a warrior, and I'm like, everybody keep, I'm like, I'm just tired of this church crap of sit back and wait on God. God gonna come, and God's vengeance come, and he's gonna bring his angels. I'm like, yo, it's 2021 now. You still enchanted by that story of God is going to come and impose vengeance and judgment? I'm like, when that's going to happen? When is it going to happen? When is that going to happen? Like, seriously, when? I'm like, because the way it looks, the enemy is in full-fledged takeover mode. We in the whole new world order. And this is what I was trying to explain to the brothers, to this Puerto Rican brother, if that was ethnicity or nationality. That's Puerto Rican means Port Rich. Like, I was trying to school him on that. Like, you calling yourself Puerto Rican, you so proud to say you Puerto Rican. I'm like, dude, what is that? Anyway, so he's with this guy gonna come and lay vengeance. I'm like, listen, man. I'm like, first of all, stop believing that crap. We gotta make moves. I used the whole Israelite coming out of Egypt as an example to this brother. I'm like, listen, man. God could have came and did his magic, and he could have brought the Israelites out. All he had to do was just expose himself, come out of the clouds, and he could have brought Israel out. But he used a human being to go into Egypt and bring out the Israelites. He used a human being to bring the Israelites into the land of Canaan. I was like, think about it. I was like, people are so weak-minded and so fearful to make a move against the enemy. That you're going to sit back and just keep waiting. Waiting for what? Waiting to be oppressed even more? I was like, then, King David didn't wait for God to kill Goliath. He went out there and threw a rock at his head. The Israelites didn't wait for God to destroy the Canaanites. They went in there and brung down the wall of Jericho. I was like, God, we see God through each other. It's how I treat you and how you treat me. God is within our actions. I said, that's why the whole commandments is really based on not how you treat God, but how we treat each other. Thou should not steal. Who am I stealing from? I can't steal from God. So I'm stealing from you. Or you're stealing from me, and we're not supposed to do that. Thou should not commit murder. I can't kill God. But I can kill you, and you can kill me. You can murder me, I can murder you. I can rob you. I can cheat you. So most of our commandments, most of the ways of God is on how we treat one another. And I was like, this is why Jesus, his greatest commandment was love your neighbor as you love yourself, because that brings you right back to the commandment. And it's us. We are the embodiment of God. We are the physical representatives of God. I even went to Isaiah where he says, you are my battle axe and weapons of war. I was like, if we don't try to combat oppression, and one aspect of combating oppression is for a nation not to oppress each other. You can't defeat an enemy if you are an enemy within yourself. And I was, and I wasn't even trying to get all into that with him. And I was like, I'm really just talking about the vaccines and the mark of the beast. And, we are in the times of revelation. I was like, this is the problem with y'all Christians. Y'all keep talking about the time of the end. And y'all don't even know. Y'all so hooked on the story, or just repeating the story of the time of the end, and Jesus is going to come, and this, that, and the seals are going to be broken, when you don't even realize you are living in that day right now. The mark of the beast is today. It's called the vaccine. Even the brother was like, well, what about, he said something about something supposed to fall out the sky and kill 1/3 of the population. I was like, well, look, turn on the news and look how many people supposedly died from the coronavirus. There you go. So then he goes, well, he starts hitting me with the Jesus is God. And Jesus is God, and God is Jesus, and Jesus is God, and God, so I'm just like, oh boy. I was like, look, man, I'm not disputing you on what you believe. If you believe that Jesus is God, then I'm not going to fight you about that, but I'm not talking about that. But he kept saying it, like no matter what I was trying to talk about, his answer was Jesus is God. So, like I said, he's Puerto Rican, Hispanic, and then he started talking about, when I was talking about the 144,000, I'm like, look, I'm one of the 144,000. And I was like, in 144,000, they're going to be the ones who's going to resist the mark of the beast. So then he says, well, what about, it's the 144,000, that's Israel, but then it's the Gentiles too that's going to not take the mark, and they're going to be saved. I was like, the Gentiles. I'm like, who is the Gentiles? I start questioning him now because he's trying to repeat crap that he don't know about. So I'm like, who are the Gentiles? Who are the Gentiles? And he's still, Jesus is God, is the Lord. And I said, bro, answer my question. Who are the Gentiles? He couldn't give me a straight answer. He still was with this Jesus is God crap. And I'm like, okay, dude. I was like, Jesus is God, okay? He was like, his name is Yahweh Shawi or Yahshua or whatever. I was like, it doesn't say that in the New Testament. It doesn't say his name is Yahweh Shawi or Yahshua, none of that. In the New Testament, it says his name is Jesus. I was like, in the New Testament, then he started saying, well, in the Hebrew, I said the New Testament wasn't written in Hebrew. I said the Old Testament wasn't even written in Hebrew. I was like, it all comes from the Greek text. I'm like, even the Masoretic text was copied from the Greek Septuagint text. I'm like, so when I said Jesus, you should be, you Puerto Rican, you speak Hispanic, right? I said, you speak Hispanic. You speak Spanish, right? So he was like, well, the Hebrew. I said, well, Latin comes from Greek. His name is Iusis or Jesus. I was like, his name was never written in Hebrew. I'm like, matter of fact, I had to give him a history lesson. I was like, the Torah itself wasn't even written in a book. It was written on 2 slabs of stone. Then it was lost when the first temple was destroyed. It wasn't conformed into a book until the time of Ezra, the scribe. When they returned to Jerusalem to build the second temple, Ezra came and he wrote a book in Aramaic. From the Aramaic, supposedly this is where the Septuagint or the Greek copy of that came from. Old and New Testament. After that, you have the Masoretic text, which is not authentic at all. Is, the Masoretic text, as far as it be written in Hebrew, please. And the Dead Sea Scrolls and all that behind that, all that is fraudulent, all that is fake, all that is Hollywood. So this is what I was telling him, right? So then we get past that. He's still with the Jesus is God, God is Jesus, Jesus is God, blah, blah. And I'm just like, okay, dude, like he keeps saying this. And that's kind of where we ended. I'm like, look, man, I don't follow any prophets. I don't follow the prophet Muhammad. I don't follow the prophet Jesus. I don't follow the prophet Moses. I follow the will of God, the commandments. And most of that is how we treat one another, for the most part. I'm not going to steal from you. I'm not going to murder you. I'm not going to enslave you. I'm not going to be envious against you. I'm not going to covet your wife, your life, anything. I'm going to love my neighbor as I love myself. That's the will of God. And the will of God is the image of my actions. So I don't need to believe in a prophet not to murder, not to steal, to keep the commandments. I don't need to follow a prophet. I don't need to believe in a prophet to do those things. I just need to do those things to the best of my ability. But I'm like, and I'm just like, look, if this is you, I'm like, dude, I'm not stressing you about, I'm not trying to debate you. The Bible is an interpretive book. I was like, the Satanists, the Luciferians, the Illuminati swear on the Bible. I said in Isaiah 14, they calls them the Luciferians. Today we call them the Illuminati, but we know them as the secret societies, the secret families. Isaiah says that they are a council, a confederate council, who are in the sides of the north, who are trying to be like God. This is the Luciferians. This is the Illuminati. Lucifer means to be illuminated. No different than the Illuminati. So I'm like, they wrote the book. It's called the King James Version. King James is a part of that secret society. I'm like, they're using the Bible as a blueprint to take over and control humanity. I'm like, you don't get it. Because what it also, now I remember how it started. I was talking about not eating meat. And I was saying how the dude, God, I can't remember his name. He the dude that, the CEO of Microsoft, whatever his name is, the one that's pushing all the vaccines. I just can't remember his name, word for damn. But he's trying to push this synthetic beef. He's trying to push synthetic beef, like because of the coronavirus. Coronavirus done opened Pandora's box for these politicians and royal families to do whatever they want to do. They're using this so-called plandemic to implement total, control over all of humanity. And they're going to use the AI system, and they're using tracking devices in the form of vaccines and stuff like that to track people, to watch them, to control them. So, because of that, they trying to create synthetic, like we already got genetically modified beef and food and vegetables and stuff like that. But now they're trying to have synthetic beef. And then he went on to say, yeah, China does that. I said, yeah, China has synthetic rice. China has synthetic meat. They feed their people synthetic stuff. They're over there dying and stuff. It's horrible what's going on over there in China. And they're trying to push synthetic beef here, and because of this coronavirus. So I was saying how in the Bible, and I would use the Israelites as an example, how when they was in the wilderness for 40 years, they complained about meat. They complained about not eating meat. And I was like, if you look at it, they had sheep and cows. They had a whole flock of animals with them. Why in the hell couldn't they just slaughter one of those cows and make a burger? And I was saying because the meat in what we think is meat was not specified as meat in the Bible. In Genesis, it says the herb of the field shall be your meat. And I was like, when you look at animals, look at the animal kingdom. Most animals and mammals are created to survive in their terrain. They're created exactly for what they need to survive for, like paws, like cats. Use cats, for example. Cats have paws, and on the bottom of their paws, they have it's a thick, like callus. So because they don't wear shoes, so their body is created to protect itself because they walk on the ground. They walk on twigs and rocks and whatever. So the callus or the bristle on the bottom of their paws helps protect, they're created to walk shoeless. I was like, well, what about, animals of, that are savages for the most part, like lions and wolves and stuff. I was like, they're predators. So they were created to be predators. They have canine, they have sharp teeth to tear through meat. They're designed for that purpose, to be predators, to tear through meat. I'm like, now look at humans. We have no physical protection, no physical repellent to anything. We can't walk around with no shoes on without damaging our feet. We can't, we're not covered in fur to protect us from the elements of weathering. I'm like, the only defense that we have as human beings is this brain. That's all we have is this brain of ours. We don't have sharp teeth. We don't have sharp claws. We don't have thick skin. We don't have anything to protect us from the elements of the earth itself. All we have is our brains. And I was like, and that's what we're not using. God is the ultimate intelligence. God is knowledge. God is wisdom. That's why we are gods, because the only thing that we are equipped with as human beings is the wisdom of our brain. So we have to acquire wisdom. That's all we have. The only shield we have is this brain of ours. We're not dogs. We don't have fur and claws and teeth. And we have to use our brains. We have to build shelters. We have to improvise in life. So if we have oppression, we have to use our brains to get out of oppression. We can't just sit and wait and say some miracle is going to happen to get us out of this situation. If we don't move on this situation, we got to move on this situation. And this is the difference between belief versus faith. And I was trying to tell the brother, and he's a good brother. I'm a friend. We always get in clashes when it comes to subjects like this, but he's a good brother. And I was saying that we are in a new world order. See, I said, you are religious and you keep talking this Jesus is God and all this crap. I said, yo, churches are closed. Do you not realize that, bro? Churches are closed. So he was like, yeah, that's God's will because people want to play church. I'm like, man, you don't know your Bible. I said, look at anytime you want to call God into a fight, you come together as a people. This is why God says to congregate. This is why they have 3 Hajjs a year, or 3 pilgrimages that the Israelites have to take a year. They have to all come together to the temple. I said when the Hebrews were being oppressed in Egypt, they all came together and cried out to the God of their ancestors, and Moses came to liberate them. I said, so if the enemy is trying to take over the world and do not want God to get into the fight, then they would stop people from congregating together. I'm like, you don't get the dynamics of control, of them trying to control. Jesus is God with the little G. I'm a God with a little G. You a God with a little G. Deuteronomy chapter 10. For God is a God of gods and the Lord of lords. So that's, that whole conversation, and it was just basically like, he was walking away, and I was like, I don't believe in going through anybody or anything to talk to my God. I go straight to the boss. I don't need a middleman. I go straight to the boss. I don't need to go through Jesus. I don't need to go through anybody to talk to God. I go straight to the boss. I was like, first commandment. He was walking away. I was like, remember this. You should have no other gods before me. And he turned around and said, yeah, Jesus said that. You should not go through no other God before you go through Jesus. I said, this goddamn dummy. I just couldn't talk. I just said, you know what? It wasn't nothing else to say to him. He's lost. And then as he walked away, I started thinking like, he's Puerto Rican. I told him he was a Gentile because the Gentiles, I had to break it down to him. I was like, he was saying that Jesus came for the Gentiles. I said, who are the Gentiles, brother? Because I'm like, Jesus said he came for the lost house sheep of Israel, which are the 10 tribes who were separated from the other tribes when they were taken by the Assyrians into slavery. So Jesus came for the 10 tribes. He didn't even come for Judah or Benjamin or Levi. Jesus came for the 10 tribes of Israel. He didn't come for the Gentiles. And I'm like, and I kept questioning, who are the Gentiles, bro? Who are the Gentiles? He didn't know. I said, the Gentiles, I said, go to Genesis. It'll tell you. Japheth. It says the genealogy of Japheth and the isles of the Gentiles. So the Gentiles are Japheth. I said Japheth is actually the Mongoloids, the Mongolia, the Mongoloid nation, who the Asians come from. I said, and you Hispanic, and you got the Mongoloid in you too. So you are a Gentile. I'm not a Gentile, but you are a Gentile because you are mixed with Japheth. So he just sat there. He didn't know what to say when I said that. And I'm like, so I mean, you telling me about Gentiles like you don't even know who the Gentiles are. So if that's the case, then Jesus come to save all the Asians and some Russians and some Europeans as well. And the Jews, because those Ashkenazi Jews are actually Mongoloids. So they are from Japhet. Obviously, Ashkenaz is from Japheth. Japhet is the Mongoloid nation. So anyway, I just started thinking, right? I'm like, you know what? Why? He's Puerto Rican. He's white, basically. I consider Hispanics white. Definitely when they have white skin. Now, if they are the Taino, Aurochs, Aboriginals, then, I respect them for that. But a lot of times you have these Hispanic whitish people who are claiming to, be the original people of the islands, but they're not. So I was like, yo, these white folks, man, they love them some Jesus. And I really wanted to, like, he was walking away. I didn't want to get racial because I'm at work, you know what I'm saying? But I'm like, you only love, I'm like, nobody know what God look like. God don't have no face. He has an image. I said, so why, I was thinking like, why these white folks, they love them some Jesus, boy. And I was like, he a good brother, Puerto Rican dude, whatever. And I was like, you know why he loved Jesus? Because Jesus looked like him. That's why he loves Jesus. He got a picture of Jesus on his wall in his house, and Jesus looks like him. Jesus looks like his family. Jesus looked like his people. And this is why he loves Jesus. And this is why I can't love Jesus. Not the image of Jesus. I can appreciate the knowledge, the intelligence, the sayings of the prophet Jesus, but I can't respect the image of Jesus because he's a white man. I'm not a white man. Sorry. So, I understand why these white folks love Jesus, and I'm not disputing them on that. He's white, and that's why he loves Jesus, because Jesus looks like him. Because I'm pretty sure if there was nothing but pictures of black Jesus or brown, really brown, brown Jesus, I doubt if he would say Jesus is God. If all the pictures of Jesus was the original depictions of Jesus, which was, a brown man, a black man. I'm pretty sure most white people would not, most Catholics would not love the Virgin Mary and Son so much if it was the image of them were black. He wouldn't love Jesus so much. He wouldn't consider Jesus God if Jesus looked like me. So this is why they love Jesus. And I'm not mad at them for that. I mean, I think every civilization's God should look like them. That makes sense. But is it true? Is the depiction of Jesus accurate? It's a possibility. To be honest with you, I believe that Jesus was Middle Eastern, Arab looking, more so brownish, looking like maybe like the Yemen people, or Ethiopian-ish. Yeah, but Prince, even those Hindus, a lot of them are Mongoloids mixed in, because look at you got the dark Hindus, and then you got the white Hindus, and then you got the original people as well, they call them the Siddi, Siddi, who they say they the Arabs transported them to India through the Arab slave trade or whatever. So you got colorism over there. The whole Gandhi situation. Gandhi is a genetically modified version of the Hindus. He didn't even like black Hindus. He was very racist. It's funny that's who Martin Luther King modeled his whole civil rights movement off of, was a racist Hindu, Punjabi. But to be honest with you, a lot of the original Judites and Israelites live in India. People don't, read the book of Esther. Majority of the Jews are in India. Yeah, Gandhi was racist. He didn't like black folks. He didn't like the black Indians. He didn't like the dark Indians. He didn't like the earth tone melanated Indians. He liked his white Indians. And they have a whole big race thing going on between the dark Indians and the light Indians. No different in Mexico or Brazil or wherever. They always go against the original people. Because of these, and it breaks down even deeper, you know what I'm saying? These white folks, these Canaanites, that's what they are. They Canaanites. These white folks are Canaanites who are trying to enslave all of humanity. They have invaded the tents of, Japhet has invaded the tents of Shem. A lot of people don't know where the tents of Shem is. The tents of Shem starts basically from like India, Persia, and the tents of Shem spreads all the way over to the Americas. Basically, from Persia, the tents of Shem spread from Persia all the way over to the Mississippi River. That's all Shem's land. So all of Asia, India, Japan, Hawaii, California, all that is all the tents of Shem, all the way going to the Mississippi River. That's basically where the tents of Shem kind of stops in a way. But really, all of it is a tent. It's just a part of this country. Kind of is on the western hemisphere. So east of the Mississippi River, which would be like going towards Ohio, Philadelphia, New York, that would be like the west, the western side of the country. And then you have the eastern side, which is everything how we would consider it west of the Mississippi. So California, Nevada, New Mexico, those areas will be on the east side of the country. And that part is really part of Shem's land. That's why you had a whole lot of Asians in Mexico, in South America, in the Americas, who they classify as Native Americans. But they are the Asians from Asia. They are Shem. They are Shemitic. So, but then you also, a lot of them are mixed with Japhet. This is why it says Japhet shall enlarge himself in the tents of Shem. So this is where you get the yellow Asian from, because Japhet had mixed with the Canaanites or the people of the caves. So the Mongoloids were mixed, because the true Mongoloids are black. And they conquered Attila the Hut and all that. They conquered Asia, India, Japan, Hawaii. That's why you have the Asian-looking Hawaiians, and then you have the Samoans, who look like us. Because Japhet enlarged himself in the tents of Shem. This is why you have Asians who came over here through the Barren Straits, who they classify as Mexicans and Native Americans, Siberians, basically. These are who these people are. So that's Venezuelans, Mexicans, and South Americans, Colombians, and they are all Japhet. They are all Asiatic people from Japhet. But then you have the Shemitic people, who are the dark-skinned, the dark people. Those are the Shemitic people. So, basically, I just looking at it. I was like, I'm like, they believe this stuff because they made the image look like them. They made it look white like them. Hold on, I'm gonna talk to my girl real quick. Hey, come in. How you doing?
Good, and you?
All right. You know what I'm about to try to do? I was talking about the business.
Yeah.
What I'm gonna try to do. How you been, Ben? Good? Because they're giving out some stimulus checks for small business, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna try to apply to get the payroll protection, and so I can give my employees some money.
Okay.
So y'all on my list already, So I get the point. I'm gonna just to hold y'all until everything gets started.
Okay.
So I get the money. I'm gonna hit y'all off. Just to, what I'm saying, like hold y'all. So when we start working, boom.
Okay.
So that's my plan, and to get that money to help build that up.
Yeah, that's good.
So just stick with me. I got this. I got it.
Thank you. We will.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, but I'm trying to start my own little business here, and I got these ladies here, so I'm trying to get some things started because we got to be entrepreneurs. The way the system is set up, they want us. Like I said, they're trying to enslave us, man. So you got to figure out a way to make our own bread. So anyway, trying to get that dinero. Yeah. So after that whole conversation with the brother, and I'm like, all right, I can't get through to him because he's into BeLieF. I'm more dealing with faith. So BeLieF, anybody can tell you something and you believe it. I can tell you the sky is pink. If you looking dead at the sky and it's blue. But if you want to believe that the sky is pink, that's your prerogative to believe that. I don't deal with BeLieF. I was raised not to trust people for the most part. So I don't really believe people straight off the back. I don't give the benefit of the doubt. I'm very skeptical about things. And I'm just not going to believe it. And because life is an illusion. Really it is. Everything we look with our eyes, everything we see is the manifestation of what our brain wants us to see. And this is a medical situation where your eyes, the light shines through your eyes, through your iris. It projects into your brain. Your brain takes those images, put them together to create an idea of what you're looking at. This is why so many people can be looking at, different people can look at the same thing and get, 5 people can look at the same picture and get 5 different, explanations to what this picture is, because everybody sees things different, because it's based on how you perceive what is projected to you. So that gives the understanding of everything is an illusion. It's real when you believe it's real. Your belief is what makes it real. Fear is an illusion. But the belief in fear is what makes it real. So belief in, is taking account of something not authentic. You're believing something that you don't really know if it's true for sure. Versus faith. Faith is the hope of an action. Faith is the hope of a certain action. Like you have faith that you're going to wake up. the next day. You have faith that you're going to live to see tomorrow. You have faith that you're going to get this job. You got faith that you're going to eat every day. You're going to have a meal. You're going to have faith that you're going to, you're going to have a roof over your head. You have faith that you're going to have a job tomorrow. So faith is hope. Hope in the outcome of something. It's you're just looking forward to an outcome of a certain action versus believing whatever is, dictated to you. Like school, 1 + 1 is 2. Well, how many ones is in that one? And how many ones is in the other one for the answer to be 2? You don't even question. You just believe it. 1 + 1 is 2. You say, okay. You don't question it. You just agree to it. You just fell into the belief of what you was told without question. See, faith gives rise to question. See, the question is what gives you faith. Because there's always a question. There's always a what if. What if this don't work? What if it don't go the way I planned it? What if? So then that's when a person say you got to have faith. You put your mind to it. You put your action to it. Have faith that it's going to come through, that it's going to work out. See, just having belief, I believe it's going to work, is not enough. You got to have faith that it's going to work. Because someone can knock your belief out. Whatever you believe, your belief can change. Belief is an opinion. You can believe this today and not believe that tomorrow. Belief is an opinion. Belief is not a fact. Faith is a fact. Because faith is withstanding the nothingness and believing that withstanding that nothingness will create something. You got to have faith. Because belief sometimes, I could believe I'm going to pass this test. But then again, it's like, belief is kind of shallow. It's just, I believe I can do it. I believe I can fly. You can believe you can fly, or you can have faith that you're going to fly. Somebody believed that they can fly. And somebody else had the faith that they can create a machine that can give them the ability to fly. And now we have airplanes. So one had put his belief into faith. He put his belief into action. So belief is the beginning of faith. Belief is just the first portion of it. You can have all the belief in the world, but if you don't have no faith, nothing is going to happen. Nothing is going to be manifested. And this is why people believe in Jesus. But Jesus will never come and save them. And I was telling the brother, I was like, Jesus was a revolutionary. I said the Pharisees was cheating the people out of their blessing. They were paying a tax to Caesar. So that means they were overcharging people for their blessings. I'm like, according to the culture, the Israelite culture, you had to go to the temple for almost everything. You had to see a Levite for basically everything. So that was the culture. So when the Pharisees took over the temple, the people still stayed in that culture of going to the temple. If they was hungry, they were starving, they go to the temple. They were being oppressed by the Romans. They kept going to the temple. You know, and the Pharisees, knowing the problem is the Romans. The problem is the culture of the Romans and the Hellenistic culture of Zeus worship and Apollo and Saturn worship and all this stuff. That was the problem. Caesar is the problem. Rome, Italy, that's the problem. So the Pharisees, instead of telling the people, look, stick to our laws and commandments, our culture. Stop fighting with each other. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Stop stealing from each other. Stop taking bribes, this, that, and the third. And we would defeat the enemy. No. They just kept selling sin. Telling people to bring more money. Oh, I'm sick. I got to boil you. Oh, that's because you're wicked. That's because of this. We need this. We need more of this. Bring more money. Bring more sacrifices. Bring more food. Bring more jewelry. Bring more everything. And the people were not being saved out of their struggle. The more they sacrificed, the more they offered. These people were becoming poor, broke, because they was giving everything to the temple, trying to get some satisfaction, some relief from this Roman oppression. And the Pharisees was taking all that money and jewelry and sacrifices, and they were paying a portion of that to Caesar as a tax so they can function. Jesus saw this as basically they were using the temple as a corporation or organization. And he said, no, that's not what the temple was for. Render to Caesar what's Caesar's and render to my Father what's my Father's. So he became a revolutionary. He became a Malcolm X. He became a Medgar Evers. He became a Huey P. Newton. He became a Fred Hampton. He became one of those type of individuals here who said, you don't need to telling the people, you don't got to go to the government, the temple, for your bread and water and for your medical needs. Believe, have faith in God. I'm going to show you faith. See, belief is what brought them to the temple. They were still in the belief that the Pharisees in the temple would heal them. But Jesus came to bring them faith. And he said, I don't come to do away with the law. I come to fulfill it by showing you the action of faith. He took one loaf of bread and some fish and fed all these people through faith, not belief. Because somebody would have looked at that loaf of bread and a couple pieces of fish and said, I don't believe you're going to be able to feed. I don't believe that you're going to be able to feed all these people with one loaf of bread and some couple pieces of fish. I don't believe that. And the person would say, have faith, brother. And he fed all those people to show them you don't need the temple. You don't need to go to these crooks for your hunger problems, to be blessed with the sustenance of food. Have faith. Here, I'm going to take this loaf of bread and some fish, and I'm going to show you what faith, I'm going to feed you with faith. Not belief, faith. Your belief is what got you broke because you're giving all your money and everything to the temple. And the Pharisees are taking your money and telling you to bring more. You're having more problems because you're still sinning. You got to give more to the temple. That's what they was doing. The blind man went to the temple so they can heal him. And they just told him to bring more money, but yet he was still blind. What did Jesus do? He said, you don't need the temple. You don't need them. You don't need the government. Have faith. Eat these herbs. Do this. Do this. Boom. Next thing you know, he had his sight back. Didn't need the temple no more. Somebody was crippled. He healed them. They didn't need the temple no more. So now, all these people are crowding around Jesus. And he's telling them, you don't need the government. They're using you. You don't have to believe in the temple anymore. Have faith in God. Do the works of his will. Have faith in God, not the temple, not the Pharisees, not the preacher, not nobody, in God. And you will succeed in whatever endeavor you obligate yourself to do. Have faith, not belief, faith. See, you could believe you were brought to the Americas on a slave ship, or you can have the faith in knowing that you from this country. You ain't come, belief, you can be indoctrinated with all type of evils to believe in. But faith, the hope in the outcome of a certain action, is what you have to embody yourself with. Faith. Anybody can believe anything. Look what we're going through now. People believe in this coronavirus. People believe that thousands upon thousands of people are dying every day. People believe this crap. And that belief is what caused their fear. And this is what's going to cause, the mandatory vaccinations and the mark of the beast, and you can't buy or sell unless you have this mark because of fear. Because the belief in the fear of, not the faith of. I got faith. I got faith that we're going to overcome. I don't have a belief. I have faith. I have to walk on faith. When King David, before he was king, he was just a little scrawny kid. He was a goat herder. And he didn't have he didn't have the belief that Israel can defeat the Philistines. Because he looked at his brothers, he looked at the armies of Israel, and they was all scared of this giant Goliath. But they had belief. They believed. They went out there in the belief that they were going to beat the Philistines. The armies of Israel went out to war in the belief that they were capable of defeating the Philistines. And when the Philistines brung out Goliath, that giant, they started to believe they could not win this war. So you see how belief can go either way? But David, the son of Jesse, he didn't walk by belief. He walked by faith. And he went and told those people, we are the people of the God of Israel. Have some faith. And he went out there with a slingshot and a bag of rocks. Now, little old David, with a slingshot and a bag of rocks, and nobody in their right mind would believe that David would defeat this 10-foot giant of a man. David was like an ant compared to Goliath. So David didn't have a helmet. He didn't have a sword. He didn't have a shield. He didn't even have an army. They was all in the back, scared. Nobody believed that David would survive this ordeal. Nobody believed. Looking at 10-foot Goliath and 5-foot something, 4-foot something David with no sword, no helmet, no shield, No horse. No nothing. Just a slingshot and a bag of rocks. Ain't nobody in the world is going to believe he was going to defeat. He's good as dead. This guy's going to stomp him out. David went out there on faith. And he took that rock and he put it in that slingshot. And he shot that rock and it hit Goliath in his head. And it sunk into his forehead and Goliath died. And David took that sword and chopped Goliath's head off and held it up for all to see. This is faith. This is not belief. And that's the difference. Belief is how you believe in anything. And this is why people believe Jesus is God. This is why people believe that, the vengeance of the Lord is going to come out of the sky. And this is why they don't have the faith in fighting back oppression. This is why they don't have the faith of resisting evil and wickedness for righteousness. You got to have faith to even stand strong against wickedness. Belief, because wickedness will give you the illusion and the delusion of your demise. Belief will have your worst fears come true because you believe in your worst fears. You believe in the illusion of what you see. You don't have the faith in your heart. So this is why they can come to you and tell you anything and you'll believe it. So you got to have faith in this game. Because churches are closed. What if they just outlaw Bibles and Qurans? What are you going to do then? You can't quote the prophets then. You can't quote the scriptures then. You can't go to the King James book then. Have people really look around the world and look at the conditions of what people are living in and going through? I might be American or whatever, but I'm not, mentally spoiled to where I don't have an idea of the suffering that is going on with people, outside of this country. In South America, in Asia, in Africa. These people are going through hell. Even in the Caribbean, they're going through hell. I couldn't imagine living in those circumstances. And then the governments and the prime ministers and the people that are in the responsibility of taking care of their citizens, the way they treat, it's terrible. It's sad. It's really sad. I was looking at videos all last week about homelessness and poverty in Venezuela, in Indonesia, and Asia, and China. The shanty towns and the slums and these people ain't got water and they got to stand online for 2 and 3 days to get some food. And and then they having the lockdowns with this fake, pandemic or whatever. And it's really bad. It's really bad in the world. Like this is really wicked out here, man. And I'm like, if Jesus was going to come back, if God was going to, impose his vengeance because of this wickedness, then, it should have came. Look in India, for Christ's sake. Look at Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam. Look at the conditions these people are living in. Look at Africa. Look at the Caribbean. Look at South America, Venezuela, Colombia. How these people are living. Go to Nigeria. These people are living bad, man. Maybe because I grew up in America, I don't understand. I have my own struggles in my little American struggle or whatever, but these people are living with no water, no food, no access to food, it's terrible how, these people are, in the governments and their communism and control, and it's just evil, man. I was looking at China, and they call them coffin houses, where people were paying $500 a month to literally live in a coffin, and they have cage houses, like, you know how they put little dogs in cages? That they have that. I know what it's like to be homeless too. I done slept in trains and abandoned houses and parks and stuff, but you know what I'm saying? I respect the homeless and their, and their survival and what they have to go through. And I mean, I look at some of these countries and the whole country is like that. It's really bad. And it's like, I mean, go to Venezuela, where they don't even have electricity all day, and they don't have running water like that, or the water, they don't have food like that. I mean, in the gang wars and go to Nigeria, where they having the civil wars and religious wars, and I mean, they're starving to death out there. Go to Haiti. Trinidad, Jamaica, where the police is more corrupt than the criminals. And people are living in squalor. Like, seriously. Go to China. And I mean, oh my God. I mean, you got garbage. People, I mean, and they living in places where garbage and nuclear waste is flowing through their waters, and they got to drink out of this crap. I mean, it's so bad, yo. Like, it really hurt my heart to see. This is what the earth is. This is what's going on. Man, it's like people talking about God coming back and Jesus coming back. Where he at? I know those people in Indonesia need Jesus to come back right now. I know those people living in Arabia that's going through a drought and can't even get no water. In Africa that, got to walk 30 miles to a well, and then got to, they got to wait for some type of food drop off from the United Nations, because they can't even get food, but corporations is buying up their natural resources, and getting paid while these people are starving. It's very, very bad, and it's like, I can't believe that. I can't have belief no more. I can't live every day go through lockdowns and seeing what's going on in the world and still have belief. I'm not believing. I'm believing what I'm seeing. That's what I'm believing. And what I'm seeing is hell on earth. That's what I'm seeing. I believe that. I believe what I see in this hell on earth out here. But I got faith. That God will protect me and my family as he protected Noah and his family. And at the end of the day, that's where we got to be at. Noah tried to warn people. A flood is coming. A flood is coming. They didn't believe him. Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah. That's what this country was created for. We know that now. This country was created to usher in the New World Order. See, the old world order was the order of religion. Christianity, Islam, those religions, Judaism, is what carved out the world. These are the religions that conquered nations and countries. Christianity conquered countries, Islam, and Judaism as well. Judaism was one of the last because they conquered their land in 1948, which was Palestine. Christianity went from Italy, it conquered Europe and the Americas and some of the East, as far as China and India and all that stuff. So, it conquered nations, and they imposed their religion as the symbol of their control. And this goes back to this goes all the way back to the order of the Pope at the Vatican. This is why we have a King James Bible. These are the people who branched out to control the world through their religion or their system of control. So that was the first world order. But because technology has advanced so much that religion is becoming obsolete. How long are you going to keep saying Jesus is coming back? I mean, goddamn. It's been 4,000 years. What, 2,000, 3,000 years now? When the hell is he coming back? They done already perpetrated and created the whole Israel going back to their land routine with the Israelite, with the Ashkenazi Jews of 1948, the 3-Day War. That's why we have a state of Israel. So they already fraudulently created the whole theme of Israel returning back to their homeland. All right, so Israel's in their homeland. As a matter of fact, the Jews in the state of Israel, 80% of the population is already vaccinated. So, they, come on. What is there else to do? Religion is becoming obsolete. Why you think, there was all these commercials and infomercials about if you've been touched by your pope or your pastor, your preacher, no matter how long ago it was, if you were sexually abused in the church, call this number. Why do you think all the scandals was coming out about the popes and all the pastors that was, little boy lovers? Why do you think they did that? Why do you think they stained the Christian church like that? Because they was trying to destroy the old world order. The new world order is the AI system. This is why they took FaiTh out. They took the F, they took the T, and they took the H, and they just left AI. So your faith is going to turn into artificial intelligence. That's where your faith is going to lie, in artificial intelligence. You're going to have faith in some computer. That's what's going on. But yeah, when they came over here to the Americas, or what they call Turtle Island, that was the whole plan. Matter of fact, after I finish this video, I'm gonna upload. I did a video yesterday in my city because they got in the hood or whatever. They got some depictions of some Moors on the side of the buildings or whatever. So I was speaking on the fact that we are not Moors. We are Aboriginals. We are the people of Abraham. We are the tribes of Abraham. We are the people of the feather. We are the people of the fringes. We are not the Moors. We are not those sadistic, rebellious Israelites who went up into Europe and civilized the enemy only to be overtaken by the enemy. So those Hebrews, those Israelites went up into, those Moors were Israelites who went up into Europe after their land be turned into dust, and it went up into Europe and civilized those white folks who they were not supposed to deal with. Those white folks were the Canaanites, and this is why Canaan is a thorn in their side to this day. And Canaan is trying to take over and destroy the world. So I was speaking on that as far as we are not the Moors, we are Aboriginals. We are the original people of this land here called America. And and I was just showing my phone around how I was walking past. It was a Christian church, and I was saying how the neighborhood I was in wasn't built for the Aboriginal people who are there now. I was saying how my grandparents and great grandparents all came up to the north from the south. because of the Industrial Revolution. And, these areas was created for the immigrants who came from Europe, the Italians, the Germans, the Jews, the Polish, the Irish. So they had their churches. I was like, I was showing how there was a Christian church on this side of the street, and then I had turned the phone, and there was an old synagogue, which is now converted to a Baptist church, but it's an old synagogue there, and I was showing how this neighborhood was built for Jews, Germans, and Irish people. But when, the Aboriginal people came up from the South and started to settle in the North, in New York and Philadelphia and, Ohio and Chicago, things of this nature, what they did was they abandoned these areas, pushed these people out, created suburbs and highways, and placed these people in subsidized, suburban, that's what suburban means, subsidized, suburban housing. And then basically they abandoned their churches, their houses, their neighborhoods, moved to the suburbs, and then the government decimated the inner cities with drugs, guns, and taking out the resources and stuff like that. So that's where I was going in. And everybody that is against us are immigrants. Just like Deuteronomy says, that a people should come to you whose language you shouldn't understand. The people from far off shall come to you, and they should take your land. And they, and this is what they're doing to us, the Italians, the Germans, the Jews, the Arabs. They all come here. The British, the English, they all come here and take from us. And then they give us this false history of ourselves by telling us we're Moors or we're Africans or some crap like that, to justify them invading our country and seizing our land. So what they do is they give us this false history of ourselves, saying we're not from this land neither. We were taken from another land. So I was kind of explaining that in my little video. I'll put that up later. I had recorded it yesterday, but I meant to put it up yesterday, but I'll do it today. But even that is because of belief. We don't have faith in what we know. We know we from this country. We know we all got, we all used to say, oh, we got Indian. I got Indian in my family. I got Indian in my blood. We've been saying that. We know we're not African. We know this stuff. But we're not dealing with the faith, with the outcome of an action. We're not dealing with that. We're dealing with belief. We're told to believe this crap. And we do. And because we believe the lies, we have no faith in ourselves. We have no faith in our ability to overcome this oppression, to overcome this invasion. We have no faith because we are in the belief that we are 12% of the population. We are in the belief that we are minorities. We are in the belief that we were taken from another country and enslaved in this country. We are in that belief. And because we believe the lies, we have no faith in ourselves. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge because they reject knowledge. Faith is knowledge of the unknown. I don't have knowledge that I'm going to succeed, but I have the faith that I will succeed. And once I succeed, the knowledge that I gained from that success is to always have faith. To believe that I'm going to succeed is not enough. It's not enough. I can't just believe. I have to have faith that I'm going to overcome. And once I do overcome, what is the education that I received in that? What did I learn? Once I overcame, once I succeeded, in whatever I had faith in. What will I learn in the end? I will learn to always have faith. Always have faith. See, belief will have you scared. Belief will have you scared. Because we believe that the enemy is stronger than us. See, the Israelites, when they saw that the Canaanites were giants and made them look like grasshoppers, they believed what their eyes saw. They saw these giants and they believed that they were inferior to them. They believed that there was no way in God's green earth that they will be able to defeat these giants. They didn't have any faith. The illusion of what they saw gave them fear. They believed in what they saw. And they became fearful. It took 40 years for not that generation, but the next generation to be raised in the idea of faith, not belief. Because the new generation, who was 40 years in the wilderness, was going to fight those same giants that their elders were scared of. So Moses had to give these people faith. Belief was not enough. Belief is why they were wandering in the wilderness for 40 years. But faith is what brought down the walls of Jericho. Faith is what brought down the walls of Jericho. Belief is what had them wandering the wilderness for 40 years. So this is why people will sit back idly and believe that someone will come and render salvation in the replacement of oppression. And they will be disappointed because your belief can change in an instant. People wanted to believe in Jesus, and he was sacrificed. He was murdered. Now where's your belief? People believed in Martin Luther King. Now he's dead. People believed in Malcolm X. He's dead. People believe in the Prophet Muhammad, where he's at. People believed in this, that, and the third. They didn't have faith. In Genesis, it says that what made Abraham a righteous man was that he believed in the Lord. That's what made Abraham a righteous man. He believed in the Lord, and he counted it to him for righteousness. And I'm sitting here talking about belief versus faith. But yet Abraham believed in the Lord and he counted it to him for righteousness. So belief in God is faith. Believing in man will disappoint you. Believing in the illusions of what you see with your eyes will mislead you. Faith will cover you. Faith will bring you through. And this is what we lack as people. We believe in the deadly virus. And through that belief, they create fear. And through that fear, they can control. But if you have faith in yourself and you have faith in your ability to resist oppression, you got to have faith. You will overcome. And the lesson that will be learned is always to have faith, never believe. Because the scripture that says that Abraham believed in the Lord and he counted to him for righteousness, the word should be faith. He had faith in the Lord and he counted it to him for righteousness, because Abraham didn't have to believe the Lord. The Lord said, leave your father's house, leave your kindred, leave your country, and go to a land that you know nothing about, amongst a people who you know nothing about, you don't even speak the same language as them, and settle there. And I will give that land to your descendants. What was there to believe? There was no way that Abraham was going to live long enough to see his future descendants inherit that land. There's no way. Abraham died and the land of Canaan was still owned by the Canaanites. And Abraham died. Jacob died. And the land of Canaan was still owned by the Canaanites. Joseph died. Canaan was still owned by Canaan. They spent over about 250 years in Egypt. Canaan was still owned by the Canaanites. So Abraham was in no way possible going to be around to believe that his seed was going to inherit this land of Canaan. There's no way. He had to have faith that this was true. He had faith in the Lord. Whatever the Lord told him, he had faith that this was true. And he made his move. Faith is the outcome of a particular action. Faith, well, I put it this way. Faith is the looking forward to a certain outcome through a particular action. So the action that Abraham did was he left his country, his father's house, his kindred. And he took a leap of faith, basically. He didn't take a leap of belief. He took a leap of faith. And that faith caused him to make the move. Because he had faith that what God told him will come true. And it did. It was a promise to Abraham. And it came true. The people did inherit the land, but they didn't keep it. And Abraham asked, how would I know for sure that I will inherit this land? Meaning that this will be my land for all times. That faith has not come through yet. So Abraham is still somewhere with the faith that his seed will inherit the good land. They still have it inherited today. To this day, 2021, the seed of Abraham has not inherited the land of Canaan. Yet, Abraham still has faith that it shall happen. Belief, years can go by and your belief will dwindle. How many people believe in God today? Coronavirus, churches shut down, whole countries locked down. How many people believe in God today? You have more people that's abandoning church and abandoning the whole. Why? Because they're losing their belief. They never had faith to lose faith. You can't lose faith. Because faith is backed up by nothing. Faith is backed up by nothing. There's nothing grounded about faith. You can't point to faith. You can point to belief, but you can't point to faith. So having faith is having a belief in nothing. You believe in nothing until something is manifest. That's basically what it is. I got faith. I'm going to be all right. I got faith I'm going to be good. Right at this point, there's nothing suggesting that you're going to be good. Nothing. There's nothing suggesting that you're going to be all right. I have faith I'm going to wake up tomorrow. There's no substantial evidence to prove that you're going to wake up tomorrow. You can believe you're going to wake up tomorrow, but do you have the faith that you will wake up tomorrow? And that's the difference. I could believe I go home, I go to sleep. I could believe I'm going to wake up tomorrow. And I might wake up. And I wake up, wow, I woke up. That's what's up. I believe that I will wake up today, but I woke up. Versus I have faith that I'm going to wake up. So now I lay myself down to sleep. I'm going to have faith that I'm going to wake up the next day. And when I wake up, that makes my faith even stronger. Because I had ultimate faith that I was going to wake up. I didn't believe it and was just kind of sitting on limbo. I don't know. I believe I'm going to wake up, but I don't sure. Belief is an either or. It's, it's a 50-50 kind of thing. That's what belief is. You can, it's a changeover. There's two sides to the belief coin. You can believe something today, get a piece of information tonight, and believe something else totally different tomorrow. So, your aspect of belief can change. You can go from a Christian belief to a Muslim belief to a Hebrew Israelite belief to an atheist belief. All in 1 week. All in the same week. You can go through 2 or 3 or 4 different beliefs. Belief is just the assumption of facts. That's what belief is, the assumption of facts. It's the assumption. You're assuming. Belief is the assumption of, basically. Because it's not really a fact if you're assuming, because there's no basis to your fact. So it's really an assumption. But faith is the result of action. Faith is the result of action. One more example real quick. Then I'm off of here. Let's say a track star. You know when they run and they got to jump over the little hurdle? Now this track star, this individual, he might believe he can do the 50-yard dash in under 30 seconds. He believe it. He been training. He's been running. And today is the day. And they come up to him, so, Mr. Johnson, you believe that you're going to win this today? And he says, Mr. Alexander, I believe that I'm going to win this race today. I believe it. I believe it wholeheartedly. I believe I'm going to win. He believe it. He been training. He believe he's going to win. And the only part that's wrong with that is it still leaves a little room, a little margin of doubt. Belief leaves room for doubt. You know, and that little crawl space of doubt can engulf the whole room of what you believe. Faith leaves no room for doubt. So this track star, he's running. He did the 50-yard dash not in 30 seconds, but 33.6 seconds. And he walked off the track with his head down, and this what happened. He was like, well, I've been training, and I really believed in myself, and I believed that I was going to do this in 30 seconds or under, but maybe next year I train harder, and maybe next year I can, make the world record and do this 50-yard dash in under 30 seconds. Maybe if he had more faith in himself. He was training, he was doing everything he was supposed to do, and he was lacking one thing: the faith in himself, the faith in his ability to succeed. He only believed. He believed because of superficial facts. He'd been working out. He'd been training. He'd been preparing. So he believed he was ready, but he didn't have the faith that he will overcome. He just believed he was ready. And he almost made it. See, belief will get you to the finish line, but faith will have you finish the race. Belief will get you to the finish line, but you won't win. Faith will get you over that line. And that's where you as an individual, that's where you got to get to. You got to get away from belief. You got to get away from believing shit. And we got to deal more with the facts of belief. But, having more faith in self, in the ability to succeed, the ability to do whatever, the ability to do thy will, you got to have faith. Because they give us the belief that we are inferior. They give us the belief that we are weak, that we are uneducated, that we are criminals, that we are mostly diseased, that we are, they give us this belief. They're giving it to us. We got to have faith in something greater. Than what we were given to believe. We have to have the faith in something greater than what we were given to believe. Because what they have given us to believe is ultimately enslaving our minds to their control. We have to have faith in ourselves, in our ability to control ourselves and manifest our own destiny. We have to be free. That's freedom. Freedom is faith. Enslavement is belief. That's as simple as I can put it. Faith is freedom. Belief is slavery. The Israelites believed that Pharaoh was most powerful. He was like a god, Pharaoh. The undefeatable tyrant. They believed that Pharaoh could not be defeated. They believed that they were slaves and their taskmasters ruled over them. That was their belief. But Moses came with the faith. He came and said, God said, let my people go. And he had the faith that action, him walking into Egypt with the faith that he was going to liberate his people. He didn't believe crack. If he would have walked into Egypt with, I believe, the Pharaoh and his magicians would have ate Moses up. Moses walked into Egypt with the armor of faith. God told Moses, I'm sending you to Pharaoh for you to bring my people out. And Pharaoh would not let them go. I will harden his heart for him not to let my people go. I mean, what was Moses supposed to do with that information? Wait, it's like you're sending me to Pharaoh to tell him to liberate your people. And at the same time, you're going to make him stubborn and make him fight me and fight against what I'm asking him to do. You're going to do this on purpose. Why? Why are you going to send me to the king of Egypt and then demand him to let a whole section of his population go free? At the same time, you're telling me that you're going to harden his heart and he's not going to freely let these people go. And I'm supposed to believe that I'm going to be successful in this endeavor here that you're sending me to do? No. God was not asking for Moses to believe him. God was asking Moses to have faith in him. Because Moses didn't want to do it. He didn't believe he could do it. When God came to Moses and said, I want you to go to Pharaoh and liberate my people, Moses said, why me? I talk slow. I'm not really equipped to be, going against Pharaoh. You talking about, this is the Pharaoh here you're talking about, man. I'm running away from home now. I'm living with my father-in-law. Like what? Nah, I don't believe that I'm capable of liberating the Hebrews out of Egypt from Pharaoh. And this, this angered God, because it's like, this guy don't have no faith. He don't have no faith. So God had to do a series of things to strengthen the faith of Moses. Because Moses just had belief. He believed, he grew up in Pharaoh's house. He knew how powerful Pharaoh was. And from what his eyes saw, he believed that he was incapable of defeating Pharaoh. And this angered God because Moses didn't have any faith. So this is why he made him stick his hand in his bosom and turned his hand leprous. This is why the bush was consumed with fire but did not burn. This is why his staff turned into a serpent. And then when he grabbed the staff, it turned back into a staff. Because God had to do things to challenge Moses' belief. He was only believing with what his eyes saw. So God had to had to alter his illusion and had to show Moses things that his eyes wouldn't believe. His eyes could not believe that his hand turned white and then turned back brown. His eyes couldn't believe that his staff turned into a snake and then turned back into a wooden staff. His eyes couldn't believe that this bush burned with fire, but yet was not consumed. So, if he was looking at things he couldn't believe, existed in reality, he's seeing things that's unrealistic, things that a person would never believe. So once his belief system was crushed, he had no alternative but to live on faith. So God was establishing faith within Moses. Because of course, walking through the gates of Egypt, walking up to Pharaoh, was impossible to believe that you would be able to do that and walk out of there alive. But he had to have faith. He had to not believe what he saw in front of his face, not believe what his eyes were imagining, but believe in the faith of his ability and the ability of God to do his will. So, the book itself is dynamic. The Torah itself is a dynamic book. So before you even turn to the Gospels, when dealing with Jesus and all that, and the faith and and the hope and all that, before you even turn to the Gospels, the whole idea of faith and belief and the understanding of the difference between the two is already mentioned right there in your Torah. And that's the difference between belief and faith. If you keep believing, you will be enslaved and controlled under that belief, under your belief, under whatever was indoctrinated to you to believe. Whatever was given to you to believe, you will be controlled by that. But you are free through faith. You are free through faith. Faith is the manifestation of an outcome. A certain outcome, an outcome in which you desire. You have no facts that this outcome, you have no facts in whatever you're doing that this outcome will happen. You have no way, no ability to know if whatever you're pursuing, whatever it's going to come through. But you got to have faith in whatever you do. Not belief. You got to have faith. And this is why Moses had to be trained into having faith and give up his belief. Because Moses believed that Pharaoh wanted to kill him. Moses believed that it was impossible for him to be a leader or even to liberate a nation of people out of oppression. He didn't believe that he can do that. But God gave him faith by basically destroying the illusion of reality, because reality is not real. Everything is an illusion. So of course, for a person to stick their hand in their bosom and pluck their hand out and it's white, stick their hand back in their bosom and pull it back out and it's brown again, that would destroy your whole concept of reality. For your staff or your stick you've been carrying around to turn into a snake, and then you pick it up and it turns back into a stick, that would kind of destroy, your belief in what reality is. So that's what happened. Moses had to learn that reality isn't real. Reality is a manifestation of illusions and delusions. So if we live in an alternate reality of illusions and delusions, then we can't possibly believe anything that we see or hear, because it's not really real. The only thing that is real is faith. The faith in a certain outcome. The faith in a certain way. That's all you got. That's the only thing that's real. The only thing that is real is having the faith in something you can't see, something you can't smell, something you can't taste, something that probably don't even exist yet for you. The realest, that's crazy to think about it like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, faith, having faith, is the concept of I can't even really structure it in words properly. Like, an outcome that doesn't exist, having a strong, I guess you would say, belief in the outcome that doesn't exist yet. I guess to define it like that, it makes sense. I mean, because belief, usually when people come to you with trying to get you to believe something, they always got to come with, some type of tangible evidence. Oh, I got this book here. You can read this book. Oh, I got this. They want to show you something real in order for you to believe in something fake. So what you're believing in, you can't really see. But they're giving you things that's tangible or whatever, or they're giving you falsified facts in order for you to believe in something you have no assurance of. You're believing something that doesn't exist. Or you believe in something that is manipulated in a way to give you the false illusion that it exists, but it doesn't. But you'll believe it anyway. You're indoctrinated with some type of idea, and that you're accepting this. Basically, you're just accepting whatever comes your way. You believe it. You don't question it. You don't try to, track its authenticity. You just believe it with no question. You just believe it. It doesn't matter if it's proven that it's fake, if it's proven that it's wrong, if it's proven that it's not real. It doesn't matter to you. You're going to believe it anyway. I just can't do that. I just can't do that. I just can't believe something because I'm told to believe it. I can't accept something because I'm told I'm supposed to accept it. No, I just can't do that. I gotta question things. I'm inquisitive. I want to know. I don't think the way it's presented is exactly the way it is. I think there's something behind that. I want to know what's behind it and under it, on the side of it. I want to know. I want the full information. I just don't want to believe with no evidence. I'm not putting my faith into belief. I'm not doing it. I'm not taking faith and putting it into a belief. And that's what people are doing. They're taking their faith and they're faithful in their belief. They're faithful in their belief. So it's like nothing on top of nothing, because faith is the belief in the outcome of something that doesn't exist yet. Belief is the idea of someone's truth. Belief is the idea of someone's truth. Example, Jesus is the Son of God, and only through Jesus can you get to God. Now you can believe that because that's somebody's truth. And you can say, I believe it. Versus someone saying, I don't really believe that, so I'm going to just put my faith in God. See, they got pictures of Jesus everywhere, and statues and stuff. And people believe that. I don't. I walk with faith. So I believe my faith is in the unseen. The unheard, I can't see God. There's no pictures of God. There's no descriptions of exactly what God looks like. God's feet wasn't bronze. God wasn't put on a pole and lynched or sacrificed or whatever. You can't do that to God. I'm going to put my faith in God. Because God is action. God proves himself. God will turn my faith into reality. To only teach me to have more faith. And that's just it. That's what I believe. That's what I believe the difference is between faith and belief. Now you can believe something. See how belief work? I say I believe. This is how I believe. The difference is between faith and belief. But again, it's my belief. Meaning that belief could be another word for opinion. That's my opinion. That's my opinion of the difference between belief and faith. That's my opinion. Belief is an opinion. Everybody can have an opinion. Everybody can have a belief. I don't have to believe in what you believe in. I don't have to have the same opinion you have. I don't have to believe in Jesus. That don't have to be my opinion. But I can have faith. And my faith is for me. I can't get another person to agree with my faith. I could try to get someone to believe as I believe, but I can't get nobody to have my faith. My faith is mine. It's personal. I can't give it away. It's mine. I can give what I believe to anybody. That's what people do on Facebook all day long. All they doing is giving out their belief, giving out their opinions. And there might be some people that might agree with their opinions. They might agree with their belief. They might believe as they believe. This is what religions was formed out of. The belief system. But faith is selfish. Faith only deals with the individual. You can't give away faith. You can take hold of it. You can acquire faith. But you can't give it away. You can't sell it. Can't do none of that. But you can take hold of faith. You can acquire it. But once you get faith, you can't give it away. Everybody must get faith on their own. It's a personal struggle. It's a personal lifetime struggle to have faith your whole life. No matter what it look like. See no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil. No matter what you hear, no matter what they talking about, no matter what you see, because all that influence your belief. But faith blocks all that. It ain't about what you hear, what you see, what they say. Your faith will get you through. Your faith, not belief. Your faith will break down walls. Your faith will split rivers and oceans. Your faith will stop the sun and the moon from circulating around the earth. Your faith will move mountains. I think, matter of fact, am I subconsciously quoting Isaiah? I might be, but that's how strong faith is. Belief is weak. Belief is for the weaklings, for the weak people, for the the easily, mentally controlled. For the slaves. Belief is for the slaves. Faith is for the free. Faith is freedom. Belief is enslavement. And that's all you got to look at it as. If you want to be a slave, you want to continue to be a slave, then keep believing the bullshit that people keep feeding your mind with. Keep believing what's on television. Keep believing that what comes across your news station. Keep believing the illusions and delusions. But the strong has faith. They have faith that we shall overcome. They have faith that wickedness will not rule forever. They have faith. That light will shine through the darkness. They have faith. They don't just believe it. They know it. They know it's going to happen. It's not a belief. I don't believe that Jesus is coming back to save us. But many people do. But what if we knew that for sure? What if we had faith that Jesus was coming back? You think he would have came back by now? I believe so. I believe that people really did have faith that Jesus was coming back, and he came back plenty of times. Jesus done been back I don't know how many times. And that's the part that bugs me out. You know, when people, you know, I should have brought that up to my co-worker here about, you know, he's waiting for Jesus. I said, man, Jesus done been back I don't know how many times. And every time he came back, he was crucified every time. Just name them. Even in the New Testament, it says when Jesus, after 3 days, after Jesus rose up after 3 days, and Mary Magdalene was the first person to see Jesus, he was not in his regular form, meaning that he changed forms, meaning that he did not look like the same person. He looked like a totally different person. And when he came to some of his disciples, you know, Mary Magdalene ran and said, Jesus is back. He risen from the dead. He's back. He's back. And they just sitting there like, all right, whatever. You lying. And she like, look, here he go. And he walked up to him and they looked, that's not Jesus. That's not Jesus of Nazareth. And he like, yes, I am. You can't recognize me? And that's because people were looking at his flesh instead of looking at the content of his character. Jesus is a character, not a man. Meaning, that's why it says to walk like Jesus. Meaning, your character is to be Christ-like. And if your character is Christ-like, then you are Christ. So this is why he came in another form, meaning that you can be Christ in any form. Christ can come in any form. Righteousness can come in any form. Truth can come in any form. So deal with the content of the character of righteousness, not the person who was claiming to be righteous. And how many people like Jesus stood up against oppression, stood up against bribery, stood up against the belief of control? He stood up for his people. How many, come on, it's the last day of Black History Month. How many people stood up against the oppression of Black Americans? That was Jesus. And how many of them were crucified and murdered in the eyes of the public? We got pictures of Martin Luther King shot dead on the balcony. We got pictures of Malcolm X shot up at the Ottoman Ballroom in Harlem. We got pictures of Medgar Evers killed. Huey P. Newton. But they just came out with the movie Judas and the Messiah. They got pictures of Fred Hampton shot dead in his house in his drawers. You can Google this stuff. They got pictures of our people swinging from trees and stuff. Pictures. They're flaunting and parading the death of our messiahs. Jesus have come back many of times. And just like it was in his days in Jerusalem, the people did not rally behind him. The people did not strengthen their faith and rally behind the Messiah who was trying to liberate them. And because the people did not have no faith, the Messiah was murdered. Because his mission was fruitless. Because the people had no faith. So that's why every time a Messiah comes to liberate us, they wind up getting murdered. They wind up getting crucified. Because we don't have no faith. We believe in our leaders until our leaders are killed, cut down, imprisoned. Then we lose all faith in the mission. You're believing in people instead of having faith in yourself, in ourselves. And that's kind of what was running through my head when I was talking to this, this Puerto Rican guy or whatever. And he kept saying that Jesus is Lord, Jesus is God, and I'm like, man, you only love Jesus because the pictures of Jesus look like your Puerto Rican ass. Point blank. Because if there was a black Jesus on your wall, you wouldn't be talking about Jesus as God. If Jesus was depicted as being a brown man, an Ethiopian-ish, Arabian-ish type of person, not a Caucasian individual. If the black Virgin Mary child was circulating like it's supposed to be, if the black Jesus was the image of Christianity, which it is, but that's hidden in their deep, dark dungeons where they go pray in secret, and they pray to the black Virgin Mary and black Christ. But then all over the world they have the image of their Caucasian depiction of the Messiah. So this is why, he being Hispanic, he being a white man or whatever, this is why they love Jesus. This is why they would not let Jesus go, because Jesus looks like them. He looks like them. And they are, they were trained in the belief of a Messiah that looks like them. So I don't, what I'm saying? I understand why he just, he don't know what God looked like. God is black. Everybody know God is black. Because God created the light. So there was nothing but darkness. Before anything was created, there was nothing but darkness. There was nothing but Layla. There was nothing but night. There was nothing but blackness. And he created the light. So we know God is black. Black in the aspect of like a black hole, like a deep dark void, but it's not void. But it's just a deep darkness. That's God. God is darkness. And God is light. God is darkness, but God created the light. I put it better that way. God is darkness. God is black, but he created the light. He created illumination. So of course this Puerto Rican dude will accept Jesus as God before he accepts God, because God is melanin. God has color. Okay? Whiteness the lack of color pigmentation, the lack of pigmentation is, according to the Bible, a curse. It's a plague. It's an illness. It's a virus. White folks know this. They know that they are plagued. They know that this is a plague, a virus put on them by God. This is why their weapons of war has always been disease. You ever notice? The weapons of the white man's war has always been disease. They have used disease to take out nations of people, more so than missiles and swords and gunpowder and bullets. Disease. The white man's greatest weapon is disease. Because he is a disease. He's a virus. According to the Bible, he was plagued with something called hornets, which is a form of leprosy. It's a deteriorating skin disease. Well, a deteriorating genetic disease. And this is what he uses. Disease. So now you see why we have the certificate of vaccination ID situation going on, and the vaccines, and why you think, these people are not of this earth. They're not, when I say not of this earth, they are aliens. Meaning that they don't belong here on this earth. Because they're not of the earth. If they're not, this is why they keep trying to find another planet to live on, Mars or Jupiter or somewhere, because they know they're not of this planet. They're not of this planet. This earth is nothing but a big ass plant. And they are not born from the root of the earth. They are, and if they was, they are rotted out through disease. So this is why they had to change history and get you to believe his story. This is why Jesus is white. This is why all the apostles and everybody is white. They needed you to believe in their superiority, not their inferiority. So they reversed everything. They made people who are of the earth, from the earth, inferior. They prop themselves up to be superior. They're not of the earth, and this is why they are destroying the earth. Why do you think we got genetically modified foods and we getting sick from the food that we eat? That's impossible. But these people are destroying the very earth that we get our life from. We believe that, they just got us in a messed up belief system out here, man. And we're not focusing on the reality of what's really going on. We don't have no faith in our ability to change them, to get back into more of a godly, natural, righteous way of living. We believe that we need automobiles. When we got horses and camels. We believe that, we need, they make us believe we need all this stuff when we don't. And then once they get us to believe we need it, and we accept that belief and we buy into it, then they control us by threatening to take it away from us. Because we believe that we need it. We believe that we can't live without it. We don't have no faith, man. And we are the people of the earth. We are the people of the soil. We have to have faith in our ability to take our world back. They're destroying it. And if they destroy the earth, they will destroy the people of the earth, which is us. They will wipe us out. They will genetically modify and genetically create new humans on this planet. And they have done it already in the form of Hispanics, or a genetically modified race of people. Certain Asiatic people, definitely Hispanic Asiatic people, Venezuelans and Mexicans and all these people, they are a genetically infused race of people. They are not from the earth. So this is why they destroy the earth. This is why they're so... Stop believing anything and start having faith in everything. That's really it. That's it. I don't want to get too long drawn out over it. It's just the fact that this guy kind of just, I thought he was, I don't know what I thought. He's Puerto Rican. I mean, come on. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, if Jesus was depicted as being black, that will not be his God. He would not be like, Jesus is my God. Jesus is God. Not if Jesus was sitting up there to look like me. If you wouldn't have a picture of Jesus in your house if Jesus looked like me. So, this is why I'm not mad at him for believing how he believed. Because his God looks like him. Makes sense. The God that he believes in looks like him. It makes sense. What doesn't make sense is for those who believe in that same image, yet that image does not reflect them. Your God don't look like you. Your prophets don't look like you. All your religion is either the Caucasian man or it's the Turkish Arab. Either you're Muslim, you're Christian, or any denomination in between. Even if you Hebrew Israelite. The top tribe is the Ashkenazi white German Jews, who even in their literature, they will not accept the Negro races into the Israelite community. Point blank. They will not, I don't care, you can scream up and down that you the true Jews and all that, which, it's a possibility that we are. It's just not, it's not categorized correctly. But to be honest with you, I don't believe that we are. I don't believe that we are Jews, meaning the tribe. I don't believe in this because there's biblical evidence to support that we are not, okay? But I do believe, and I have evidence to support this, that we are of the seed of Abraham. That I do believe. So I do believe that I am Abrahamic. But do I believe I am Israelitish? No. I do not believe that I'm an Israelite. Do I believe that I'm a Hebrew? Yes. But do I believe that I am an Israelite? No. Do I believe that I'm a Jew? No. Do I believe that I'm a Hebrew? Yes. Do I believe that I am of the descendancy of Abraham? Yes. I'd rather be a descendant of Abraham than an Israelite. I'd rather be a Hebrew than an Israelite. For real. See, the Hebrews will be blessed. Like he said, through your seed, all families of the earth shall be blessed. Your seed. Abraham he's the father of nations. Remember, he had children with another woman named Keturah. He had a child with Sarah. He also had a child with Hagar. So, those are a lot of nations coming out of Abraham. And those nations are blessed too, as well. Israel received the law, and they disrespected the law. Israel received the presence of God, and they disrespected God. They turned their back on God. They turned their back on the law of God. And they were rejected, and they were cast out, and they were banished, and they were excluded. They were wiped out by God because of their disrespect towards God. Why would I want to be an Israelite? Why would I want to be an Israelite knowing that they did everything, after everything God did for them, them ungrateful bastards turned around and did that to God? Why would I want to be an Israelite? Why would I want to, identify myself with a cursed people who will always be cursed? Some say, is God going to come save Israel? Yeah. No, that's not true. He said that when he saved his people, they will be called by a new name. So he's not saving Israel. He's saving another people who will be called by another name. And he said the land will be called by another name. So he's not saving Israel. He's saving another people. And they will be called by another name. So this is a whole new nation of people. It's not going to be Israelites because they curse. And he curses people to the third and fourth generation. Look at us. Look at how we act today. Come on. We're so cursed. We're probably cursed for the next 300 generations. Literally, we're cursed for the next 300 generations. Just going by the Torah alone, we're cursed for the next 300 generations. It's impossible to get out of this punishment that we're in if we're Israelites. So why would anybody want to be an Israelite? I wouldn't. Hebrew? Yeah, no problem. Because the Hebrew only means that I'm a stranger, I'm an alien, I'm an immigrant for the most part. And I am. I'm an immigrant, I'm an alien, I'm a stranger in my own damn country. Just like Martin Luther King said. The Negro is exiled in his own land. So a people came to this country with a language we didn't understand. They came and with mocking names and words. They came and took our land and our crops. They came and took our children and sold them. They did that to my ancestors. So that gives me the understanding that my ancestors, who were aboriginals, were the people of Abraham. So I believe that, as Genesis chapter 15 states, that we will come out with great substance. And that great substance that we will come out with is faith and a brain to think and to put strategies into action so we can be free. We have to fight, man. We have to fight. The Civil War was not won because we sat and prayed for slavery to end. The Civil War was won because you had enslaved peoples who got up off their ass, left the plantation, grabbed the gun, and said, we are going to fight for our freedom, and we have the faith that we will overtake the Confederates. And they did. Sitting back, idle, waiting for what? What you waiting for? Ain't nothing going to happen if you don't move. If you don't do something, ain't nothing going to happen. But if you don't have no faith, you're not going to move. If you don't have no faith, you're not going to take the first step. You're just going to sit back and believe one day it's going to happen. One day you're going to get the opportunity. But you ain't even taking the leap of faith to make it happen. You just believing it's going to happen. It ain't going to happen if you don't put no action behind it. Oppression will never cease if you don't put forth no action to quell oppression. You got these black Hebrew Israelites talking about our land and they took our land. Well, what steps are y'all taking to get that land back? That's why I respect Ben and me. He was the leader over there of the black Hebrew Israelites. They call them African Hebrew Israelites in Dimona, Israel. They left in the 60s. Chicago, Illinois left in the 60s. 60s, man. 60s. When all the riots and Martin Luther King was killed and the civil unrest that was going on in this country. And Ben and me and his Israelite congregation decided, we Israelites, we Hebrews, this ain't our land anyway. This is what they believe. And they took a leap of faith. They got on planes and boats and they said, we're going back to the homeland. It was a struggle. Some people got real sick. Some people died. But they made it to the deserts of Israel. They settled in Dimona, Israel. And this was in the 60s. And they fought for citizenship and all that. Israel, the state of Israel still does not recognize them as citizens, but it recognized them as permanent occupants. And I think there's still some legal hurdles that they're going over, but I think they can collect like Social Security. They need like welfare or something like that. Yeah, I think they're starting to be able to partake in some of the perks of being a citizen of the state of Israel. So they're still fighting, but they're fighting because they had faith. They left America in the 60s and took a leap of faith and moved and settled, and never came back to America. That's faith. That's not belief. Belief is them niggas standing on a corner with their costumes on, standing on a flag with a bullhorn talking about Read. The land of Israel should... No, that's belief. They're standing on the corner yelling out what they believe. They're standing on the corner reading out the scriptures, telling you what they believe. The white man is Edom, and we're going to enslave them, and we're going to be returned back to Jerusalem. That's what they believe. Now, you can walk by that and get caught up in that crap, and you can start believing the same bull crap that they talking about. Or you can have faith and be like an individual like Ben and me, who didn't stand on the corner talking about what he believed. He put what he believed into action. And he had the faith to fulfill the mission. And he did it. Rest in peace to Ben and me. Rest in peace to Ben and me. Gotta respect that brother. That brother is another Messiah of our lifetime. And he died in his land of Israel, the land he called home. He made that move. And this is why I do not respect Hebrew Israelites who are still pandering around America, talking about, you're calling on the destruction of this country. You're standing on the flag and this, and you're claiming the white man this and the Asian man that, and you're pointing the finger and you're yelling at folks and you're claiming all this Hebrew knowledge and you're coming out with all these camps, but not one of y'all fools said, let's leave. Let's move. Let's resettle in our so-called homeland, Jerusalem. No, you still walking around here in the American cities yelling and screaming about what the hell you believe. Don't nobody care about what you believe. Especially the white Jews. They can care less. If that's who you think you're talking to. Take a leap of faith and get your ass out this country. Since you saying you was brought here against your will. Since you saying Deuteronomy 28:68 is the cause of your occupation in this country, then hop your ass on the plane and get up out of here. Take the leap of faith. But they're not, because they don't have no faith. They only have belief. And that's the difference. That's the difference right then and there. Belief, I had you standing on the corner running your mouth. Faith, I had you making moves and conquering missions. Peace. Enjoy the rest of your day. Shalom, shalom, assalamu alaikum.